So there happens to be many nuances to how cellular towers interact with biology. But there's one major consistency that we should talk about more often. Researchers, physicians, advocacy groups, and members of the public argue that existing standards focus too heavy on thermal heating effects. Long-term, low-level biological effects deserve more study. Some individuals may be more sensitive than the average Joe. Regulatory standards may lag behind emerging science, and these concerns have been debated for decades. But because governments, regulators, and telecommunications companies generally operate under the conclusion that exposures from towers are below the limits established by regulatory agencies, those limits are based primarily on preventing known adverse effects from radio frequency energy at the exposure levels encountered by the general public. However, it is also true that environmental measurements can vary drastically depending on location. Near transmitters, radar installations, broadcast antennas, industrial equipment, or even faulty electrical systems, readings can be much higher than in other locations. And that's one reason we need more people taking measurements and keeping logs. Our Launch Your Own EMF Business Guide can help you get started. Find it in our shop at bioelectric.solutions.shop. But that's not the purpose of today's video. Our bodies have measurable electrical activity. EEG measures brain electrical activity, ECG measures heart electrical activity, and the EMG measures muscle electrical activity. One strong claim is related to our biofields, and I first have to throw this into the mix that this is a highly controversial topic that sparks various claims that we do want to avoid for the sake of viewing capabilities. This information is not definitive or scientifically proven in mainstream medicine. However, there are those who claim the biofield is being imaged, manipulated, or used to read thoughts or write information into the genome via the ordinary 5G infrastructure. We don't want to assert this could be happening, but we would like the public to get to know all the information they can so that they can make a very educated decision based on how they want to navigate this environment. And people cannot do that when information is being controlled or suppressed. And people have a right to ask questions and determine if they want to learn more about this unfringed. At present, researchers can measure electrical and magnetic activity from the body. Researchers can use specialized medical equipment to stimulate nerves and tissues. They can also alter gene expression using certain laboratory techniques. Unfortunately, no public mainstream evidence exists regarding 5G networks being able to routinely see into a person's biofield or send targeted messages into a genome. Yet, people still connect the ideas oftentimes because cells use electrical signaling. Electromagnetic fields can influence biological systems. Now, modern environments contain a slew of electromagnetic sources. Therefore, electromagnetic systems may affect biology. And let me tell you, this is not an irrational line of thinking. In fact, based on our short vertical versus dimensional thinking classes, we would encourage this thought process because it helps us explore. It's imperative the human race shouldn't accept claims simply because a specific agency, corporation, activist, or influencer makes them. So the point of this video is to encourage people to get interested in these topics by measuring, comparing measurements against known standards, read studies from multiple viewpoints, and separate hypotheses from demonstrated findings, and remain willing to update conclusions when new evidence emerges. To kickstart your study, I strongly urge you to get in our emailing list. Start digging into the many studies related to bioelectricity, electromagnetic biology, and the possibility that electrical signaling plays a larger role in health than conventional medicine has historically emphasized.